Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, or otherwise known by men who wear suits as Red Tie Day. Does everybody have on a red tie of some sort? Oh, almost.
Pink tie.
Or pink. Oh, pink shirt. red tie. So we will start with a couple of administrative items. Let's go ahead and start with the roll call.
Can I establish roll call and just quorum? We have Commissioner Villegas, James, and Caloza are present. President James, you do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Michael Patney, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Jay Wong, Street Lighting.
Good morning, Yaling Ken, Bureau of Street Services.
Roosevelt Bagby, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary from the Neighborhood Council comment section. No speaker cards were received for today's regular agenda.
All right. On the administrative items, agenda item number 4, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids in Council District 13, Silver Lake Boulevard Underpass Sidewalk and Arches Project, estimate $632,264. Bid receipt date March 18, 2020. Is there a second to my motion that we approve agenda item number 4 forthwith? By Commissioner Villegas. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. It's the same for agenda item number 3. Specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council District 14, Burwood Avenue and Figueroa Street storm drain. Estimate $1,731,600. Bid receipt date of March 25th, 2020. Is there a second to my motion that we approve agenda item number 3 forthwith? By Commissioner Villegas. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 5 is an item returned for signature. Council District 13. The mayor has approved and authorized the board on behalf of the Bureau of Engineering to execute the memorandum of understanding between the Board of Public Works on behalf of engineering and the University of Southern California for partnership and the use of engineering's hydraulic research laboratory for modeling portions of the Los Angeles River. Is there a second to my motion that we approve agenda item number 5 forthwith? By Commissioner Caloza. Any objection? Without objection, we will approve agenda item number 5 forthwith. Agenda item number 1. Actually, Mr. Sachs, you wanted to speak on general public comment. You waved your hand at me. That's good enough for you, sir. We'll do general public comment.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I also appreciate the opportunity to come to the meetings and learn, because I used to say when I'd go to these meetings that I'm the dumbest one in the room. But I pay attention and I read the agendas and I listen to what's being said. So I appreciate what was discussed last week. And the part about knowing all the information before you make a decision, especially like if you're going to do an investment. If you find out after the fact that what you invested in has been changed, something's been added, it changes your investment. And so you should have the opportunity, if you invested in something, to take your money out. If you don't get that opportunity, then it's your own fault. But if you invest in insurance, there's no investment in insurance unless you're a billionaire or multi-billionaire, because you only make money on the premiums as long as nobody makes a claim. There is no other money in it. And if you change that investment structure by adding a company, let's say, then you get an opportunity to pull your money out. That money, the claims belong to the insurance company owner. That's what's important here. This is a great opportunity for the county and the city to really make some improvements in the welfare for all the people in the city and the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. That's the only card we have for general public comment, so we'll close general public comment. Agenda item number 1 is an authority for expenditure for the Department of Toxic Substance Control. Engineering and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $84,222 for the payment of state agency oversight fees, for the Taylor Yard G2 parcel for blanket authority during fiscal year ending in June 30th, 2020. That's the current fiscal year. Ms. Naish?
Good morning. Thank you. Lindsay Naish, Bureau of Engineering. I am representing the Clean Water Division, Ellia River Group. This authority for expenditure is for the state's Department of Toxic Substances Control, the DTSC, for their regulatory oversight of the Taylor Yard G2 parcel located in Council District 1. The G2 parcel was purchased by the city in 2017 for the purpose of Ellia River revitalization. The site is known to be contaminated due to its prior use as a Union Pacific rail yard. In early 2018, the city entered into a voluntary cleanup agreement with the DTSC for their oversight of environmental site assessments, which were completed during the summer of 2018, and the eventual cleanup of the site. The Taylor Yard G2 site is anticipated to be cleaned up in phases as funding and approvals are secured. This AFE is for fiscal year 1920, based on a cost estimate provided by DTSC in December in the amount of $84,222. DTSC oversight activities anticipated during this period include their review of a cleanup plan for the initial project anticipated at the site that we are calling Paseo del Rio, and as well community engagement activities. This concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't have any questions other than I'll mention to Dr. Campos and Mr. Jordan. I never sign an AFE before we approve it at the board. That's always been my note. One got by me, Dr. Campos. I signed this one on the 31st. Check that out. I never do that. That means I was slacking in my personal oversight of signing things.
You're right.
I did it. One got through. All right, well, it's not effective until the board votes on it. So
Exactly.
So we actually
thank you
endorse
for bringing it before the board. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioner Villegas. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. That's the first time I've done that in 6.5 years. All right, secondly, authority for expenditure, State Water Resources Control Board. Sanitation and the Office of Accounting requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $56,921 for payment of the annual waste discharge permit requirement fees for the period of October 1, 2019 through September 30th, 2020. Secondly, authorize myself or 2 members of the board to execute the associated service agreement. Dr. Campos, we got in some cards. Am I in any of those areas right now?
No, you're not.
Okay. Go ahead, sir. Mr. Chen.
Good morning, Dr. Campos and Bureau Representative, Commissioners, City Attorney, and Dr. Campos. My name is Sam Chen. I'm from LASN Financial Management Divisions. I'm here today to request for board approval and executions of an authority for expenditures in the amount of $56,921 for the payment for the annual waste discharge permit required fees to pay to the State Water Resource Control Board.
Thank you, sir. We're just paying our bills. Any questions on agenda item number 2 for the State Water Resources Control Board? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2, seconded by Commissioner Caloza. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 2. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 2 forthwith? We will send number 2 forthwith. Let's go ahead and take care of our Streets LA update. 10:15 is the time of our special meeting. It's not quite 10:15, and we can go ahead and take care of our oral report on the status update on major upcoming street improvement projects from Streets LA. Sir, go right ahead. We've got Mr. Cristales.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. My name is Tobias Cristales. I'm with Streets LA. I'm here in order to keep the public informed on the upcoming resurfacing projects and to minimize the impact on the community as well as the delays to the commuters. Streets LA would like to provide you with an update on the major upcoming streets improvement projects. The following projects are scheduled for Metro Surface Region. Saturday, February 22nd and Sunday, February 23rd, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will profile and pave Figueroa Street from Avenue 49 to Woodside Drive. It's in City 1 and the East Los Angeles Neighborhood Council. The fund is PPP.
Pavement Preservation Program.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead, sir.
On Saturday, February 29th, and Sunday, March 1st, from 6 to 6, we will be profiling and paving 11th Street from LA Liveway to Alvarado Street. It's also in CD1, and this one's in the Central Neighborhood Council. The fund is PPP. For the following two projects are for the Valley region. Saturday, February 22nd and Sunday, February 23rd, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will co-mill and pave Tampa Avenue from Lassen Street to Plummer Street. It's in CD12. Northridge West Neighborhood Council. Fund is PPP. Saturday, February 29th, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will pave Tampa Avenue West Roadway from Chatsworth Street to Devonshire Street. It's also in CD12. The Northridge West Neighborhood Council funding is PPP. Saturday, March 29th, and February 29th and March 1st, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will pave Tampa Avenue from Devonshire Street to Lassen Street in CD12, Northridge West Neighborhood Council, Fund PPP. The press releases were broadcast, work notifications have been issued, and Streets LA coordinated with the council district's offices to assist with the outreach to stakeholders. Also, we coordinated with Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This concludes my board report.
Thank you, sir. We always appreciate the report. It's very helpful across the city, frankly, for residents, neighborhood councils, and the film industry. Any questions on agenda item number 6? The oral report we received. Thank you, sir. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk? Oh, I've got two items for approval on meeting minutes. Friday, February 7th, 2020, and Monday, February 3rd, 2020. Is there a second to my motion to approve those meeting minutes by Commissioner Caloza? Any objection? Without objection, those meeting minutes will be approved. Have we cleared the desk on the regular meeting now?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then the regular meeting will be adjourned. It is now 10:18 in the morning, so we can have the special meeting. Dr. Campos, you'll call the roll on the special meeting?
Absolutely. Roll call for the special meeting. We have Commissioner Villegas, James, and Caloza. You do have a quorum. Mr. President, you did receive one speaker card under general public comment and also a speaker card on special item number 1 and item number 2 as well.
Okay, Mr. Sachs, let's take general public comment on our special meeting this morning.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. I feel like I won the lottery. 4 minutes on public comment. So, in addition to investments, there's something called the golden parachute where you protect yourself, you get a payout. There's a hedge fund in case something happens. And there's also diversifying in your stocks. Just like a workforce, you have a diverse workforce. You have different nationalities, you have different races, you have different colors, you have different stocks. But an insurance company really only makes its money, a public insurance company with investing in public, like car insurance, only makes its money off people who have automobiles. They pay a premium. Nobody, but nobody, would think to invest in a public health department because there's no money in a public health department. It's all expenses. And so there's no money in investing in the premiums, which is bad news if you're an investor. The good news is there's been a third company added, because when the health department made its report back in 2015, it was only LA Care and HealthNet. Now there's My LA Live. Changes the whole playing field. Get your money out of that investment. Let the insurance company owner pay. And you can use that company, you can use the health department to fund a million things because it's your health department and their insurance company. It's a wonderful marriage for the government, but it's a terrible marriage for the insurance company because the insurance company has to pay. You just enroll people in there. Somebody gets sick, boom, you're covered. Whatever the Department of Health and the County Department of Health covers, the insurance company's got to pay. It's a marriage made in heaven for the public. If you're an investor, you can say, hey, you know what? You added that other company. Changes everything. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. That'll close general public comment on our special meeting. Special 1, Council District 4, a contract award for 40C. Does it matter, Mr. Kawaguchi, in which order we do these for your preference? Okay. Special 1 is 4 to EC Incorporated, Council District Number 4, Riverside Drive, a bridge home project, recommending that the board first declare 40C Incorporated the sole bidder to be the lowest responsive responsible bidder and award Ford a contract for the project for $4,393,700. Secondly, authorize myself or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And third, instruct Ford to submit their bonds and insurance as soon as possible, but no later than 14 calendar days. Mr. Sachs on special number 1.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. And you know I'm still going to rip this. When is the city council, and maybe even the county board of supervisors, going to consider rehabilitating some of the housing that's left over at the VA hospital for veterans? With all the money that's being spent with HHH funds and with Measure H funds and any other funds that are available, as Mr. Rosendahl would say, and he had no brains, it's a no-brainer. People can sacrifice to fight and protect the freedoms of the country. They certainly deserve more than be sleeping out on the streets. And if you can't figure out how to do that, you can't figure out how to renovate those buildings to use them for, again, homeless vets. And there's other buildings you can do. You can rehab other buildings along the way. There's no sense in building. If you're going to use, some people have said use trailers. But there's plenty of properties around that the city and the county both own, and even Metro, that can be rehabbed and be used. Again, it's great because you can enroll people in the county health department, and you can create a situation where you have on-call help paid by the insurance company. It's their baby. They signed up for it. They took the course. They got paid the premiums. Now they get to pay for some work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. On agenda item number 1, Mr. Kawaguchi.
Morning.
Morning.
James, Commissioner, Board, Bureau Heads. My name is Alan Kawaguchi. I'm the Bureau's representative on the homeless projects by the Mayor's Office. What we're asking for you before is the award of one of what we call the bridge homes. This is in Council District 4. It's a bridge home that will house 100 people. It has 100 beds. The bids came in at $4.4 million. It was high above the city engineer's estimate by about 55%. I've realized when I've come here, I haven't really explained the projects that much, and that's partly my fault, so I want to give a little bit of background on the projects, if you kind of would like to see it.
Of course.
What I have here is just, this is in general just as the bridge home projects, and we have, when we talk about, there's 3 elements that are really in there. We have the residential trailers or residential units where the people sleep. We have a hygiene trailers where showers and restrooms and laundry facilities are, and what we call a admin, which was the intake. Those are the 3 main elements. They're common on every single bridge home facility we have. At that point, we have to then site adapt it to the site. And believe it or not, most of the sites that we go to are not the most ideal sites. I think that's why they haven't been built on.
That's why they're available.
And that's why they're available. So for a good example, we had a site that you had awarded back probably about 2 weeks ago, which was out in Beacon. That's this project that's up in here. The project, again, slept 100 people. What we have to do with that project, and the reason why people haven't built there is the slope on the east side of it, west side of it, is what they call a slip slope. And so we have to stabilize that slope in order for the homeless to go there. We also have to protect them. We're dropping in K-rails in order to protect the land from sliding. We did observe it for 2 years. Even with the heavy rains last year, the slope did not move at all. So we're pretty confident that the item will be pretty safe, at least for 3 to 5 years. That's not a problem. Today with Riverside, you're approving another project that's located out on Riverside Drive. That's this project down here. And what you see in this one is a big red line that you see back up in here. That's an active fault. We were told we can't build on the active fault. And part of the reason why the city engineer's estimate was low was because of the fact that our soils report were moving at such a fast pace. The supplemental soils report came in 3 days before we advertised. We inserted the supplemental soils report into the bidding item. When we looked at it, the Bureau of Engineering had omitted a line item that would have increased our city engineer's estimate by about $700,000. Again, because what it did is it's requiring the contractor to over-excavate to 7 feet. And when you look at this area, that's a large area for us to do. And that became one of the big areas of where we saw an increase in price from the contractors. But again, we thought, he included it, so it's not a change order to us. The other items that causes the bid items to go high is the fact that the contractor was saying is that because you're going at such a fast pace, we have a 120-day calendar project, which is 4 months. And the liquidated damages on those projects are very, very high. We're in the $5,000 per day range. For people that aren't familiar with it, $5,000 per day for this project that's bidding at about $4 million. This is typical of projects that we would see in $30 to $50 million range, not at $3 million. So he understands the risk, and so when they have to do that, they put a dollar value to that risk. This is a it's a sole bidder that bidded on the project. The Bureau of Engineering did meet with the contractor. I do have an amendment or a amendment to the contract. We were able to get the contractor to reduce down the price by about $52,000, which makes the award amount now at $4,341,208.50. Also reduces down the contingency as well. And so at this point, we feel that this is a good bid, and we recommend the board award the project to 4EDC.
So, Mr. Kawaguchi, I again want to thank you and your team for the work that you all have done in this area, the expediting of the process that, frankly, we all built, under your leadership. When I say we all, I mean the departments and the mayor's office, and to get these projects delivered quickly. Matter of fact, the mayor was talking about it with representatives from the federal government and the state just in the last couple of days, and it was on the news as well, of course. A couple of questions. So, unfortunately, we ended up with one bid here. The bid was a bit high, but we've got to move on these things. What is any thoughts on why on this project the bid came in as high as it did? Because they didn't know that they would be the only bidder.
They actually didn't know they were their only bidder.
They did?
They did not know. My impression would be until the day of the bid, because what we did is we did not make mandatory walks to the site to be mandatory, which we typically would. At that point, they would know who the bidders are. We left that open, so we assumed that they wouldn't know until the day of. Granted, they're calling around. I'm sure they could have figured out something, but we did not let on. Again, we talked about the number being high, but it isn't as high because, again, if we would add the $700,000 back in that we had estimated for that over-excavation and recompaction, that changes our city engineer's estimate up. By doing so, then we would only been about 23% high. The 23% high wasn't a bother because, again, one of the things I didn't mention is that the sequence of how we did things, this is the first time we were bidding projects. So what happened was the first ones that we bid were Beacon and Eubank, and we opened the bids on January 8th. This project was advertised on December 31st. So we didn't get a chance to look at the bids on how they came in. When we looked at those bids, we did see that the contractors put in a little higher value because of the risk of the time. And so, again, we thought that the numbers were good. So when you look at all that, we feel that the numbers are not really that high. And also looking at what we built other projects for, we have some projects that have been completed already for Imperial, which is out in CD15. We built that project for a total cost of $4.9 million. We completed the project in St. Andrews, and that project was completed at a little over $4.1 million. So this number fits right in that range of where we expect it to be.
Okay, and you had mentioned to me that the city council has this item, the funding element of this item on their agenda at the same time this morning. Do we know if they already called that item and approved it?
Yes, they already called it. I should have mentioned that to you. They called it on consent, and items for Aetna, the facility of funding for Aetna, the funding for this Riverside and another Riverside project, all was approved, and it's also going forthwith.
Okay, so we had a runner over there that was keeping track of that for us one way or the other.
Yes.
All right, thank you for that information. Commissioner Caloza.
Thank you, President James. I don't have any additional questions to add, but just wanted to thank you and BOE for making the correction and just adding some additional context as to why, at least when you just look at the number on paper in relation to our original estimate, why there was a discrepancy. I think that is really important to note, and again, to add context specific to this job site about the fault line, the difficulty of the engineering that you have to, additional engineering and studies that you have to do to build on this. Because when you look at the number by itself, right, and you look at the bid and you're just, I think we all wonder, why is it over 50% high? I think it's important to couch it within the context that you just shared. So thank you for doing that. That was really the only thing that I wanted to add. I'm glad the City Council has approved the project. That was the other thing I was going to ask about, which has now been cleared up. And, I think we understand the risks that contractors are taking because of the liquidated damages. So thank you for sharing that as well, and that this is typically a lot higher than we would normally do for this size of a project.
Typically, this project size would be about $1,500 to $1,800 per day. So you can see 5,000 is a big number for them. And the mayor's office did tell him, he says, I'm not giving you extensions, so if it is, you're going to be expecting to hit the liquidated damages.
And I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but can you just confirm again when the deadline is in terms of the mayor's goal for the Bridge Home projects and the pipeline?
The mayor in September gave us a commitment, or told us that he wanted all the remaining projects that were in the pipeline, which in our case there were 7. He wanted them completed by June 30th. Of the 7 projects, all 7 are in construction at this point. If we award these will be the last 2.
June 2020.
Yes. Yes.
5 months,
Yes.
4 months.
We have 4 months. And like I said, when you look at, if we award this contract and we get him going, let's say we assume that we give him notice to proceed, because we give him no more than 14 days. So let's just say we give him a notice to proceed by February 28th, 26th. His finishing date's going to be roughly June, I think, 29th. So and we are asking him, we do have already the authority to go on Sundays if need be. His bid is included also to work 6 days a week at 12 hours a day.
Thank you for adding that in. Last comment is thank you for negotiating down $52,000 of the bid. So I know every little bit helps.
Yeah, they were very cautious of saying they haven't built this project yet, so they didn't want to take a lot of risks. Plus they said if we go over, they're really worried about that, of the liquidated damage number. So they said that they'll cut where they've been very good. They were very transparent. They said, here's what our subs gave us as a cost to reduce down, like paving, to reduce down some of the coatings that we have. They said, here's the price. We're going to give it to you straight. And we added them up. So it wasn't like they were holding things from us and trying to negotiate. They were very transparent to us.
Okay. Thank you for the additional information and for all your work on this.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Close. I have nothing else to add, Alan. Thank you for the explanation on the bid price from the contractor's perspective on this, given the risk and the timeline that they're agreeing to with the additional liquidated damages clause.
The other thing I wanted to add is that this will be the first one that is a larger tent size, sprung tent. Most of our sprung tents are 60 by about 160. This is the first one that's 60 by 180. And what we're doing is typically as we build them, we also build we call an outdoor dining area. It's normally just a hard lid cover with heaters on it. This is the first time that we brought all the dining inside to the facility, so that's also making the facility a little bit bigger than what we normally have been seeing. This is the first of the series. We have another one that will be built the same way, and that's on the Van Nuys site up in CD2.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion that we adopt special item number 1, seconded by Commissioners Caloza and Villegas. That'll be the order on number 1. Thank you, sir. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. That takes us to special item number 2. Council District 6, Contract Award, 40C Incorporated, Council District number 6, Etna Street, a bridge home project. Recommending that the board declare 40C Incorporated the sole bidder to be the lowest responsive responsible bidder and award for a contract for the project for $2,953,000. Secondly, and this is much closer to the city estimate. Secondly, authorize myself or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And third, instruct Ford to submit their bonds and insurance as soon as possible, but no later than 14 calendar days. Mr. Sachs on special number 2.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. So project measure when the voters approved Measure A, or is it Measure A, the homeless initiative, Measure H, and was it 2018? I believe it was approved. 2016. So it would be interesting to find out what the average cost per day was of the, and I guess there's going to be 15 bridge home projects in each council district. It'd be interesting to find out what the average cost per day for the first 8 projects was versus these last 7. And the fact that it's on an active fault makes me think about there's a hospital in Chinatown that is closing down because it's not earthquake proof. It'd be a great opportunity to use county investment funds to purchase that hospital so that it can be used and upgraded to make it earthquake proof, whatever it would cost, because whatever it would cost to make it earthquake proof, to bring it up to standards, would be, what, 30%, 40% less than actually building a brand new hospital and going through all the work. And it would be able to serve the community there. And I'm sure that they would appreciate it there. And it would be a goodwill gesture. And the county has the facility, the money, because they just handed out $500 million for another hospital to purchase. So if they can get $500 million for a first hospital, I'm sure they can come up with enough money, somebody's handing out candy canes, to purchase the second hospital and use the economic initiatives that they have available to make it usable for the public. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 2, Mr. Kawaguchi.
Morning, President James, Commissioners, and Bureau heads. My name is Ali Kawaguchi. I represent the Bureau in the homelessness. We're here to ask for award of another bridge home project. This is located in Council District 6. The number of beds for this facility is 70 beds. The bids came in at $2,953,000. City engineer's estimate was $2,581,500. This number is 14% high. Again, as I had mentioned on the Riverside, timing-wise, if we had a chance to have opened the Beacon bids and Eubank bids and adjust our numbers, the numbers would have probably been a little closer because we realized that the contractors were bidding based on the fact of the amount of risk, and that's something that we didn't factor in when we created the city engineer's estimate. This one also contains the liquidated damages of $5,000 per day, so again, there's that risk that they're into. The other thing that made the contractor add a little bit more contingency factor in is that because of the fabrication time, the sprung tents and the trailers have a 12-week lead time. So in order to make the 120 days, the city purchases those ahead of time. So that's a coordination issue that the contractor says, I'm not in control of, but yet you're going to hold me to a delay. So he says he had to add money in there to compensate for that amount, because again, the one in Etna is all trailers. It is 10 trailers for residential that we're going to stitch together. Again, the trailer company's going to do all that. That takes 3 weeks out of his schedule. And then the other 3 trailers are again, the hygiene trailers and the admin trailers. We are negotiating with 4DC. Tentatively right now, he's agreed to give us a credit of about $5,000 because of the overhead power. We've decided to we're working with Water and Power, that Water and Power will allow us to overhead the power versus underground. So we will be issuing probably change order number 1 as a credit of about $5,000 to the facility. But again, with the time that's being as tight as it was, it's hard to negotiate and stay on schedule.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions on number 2? Dr. Campos? Oh, okay.
And council did approve this one also this morning.
I was going to say, I thought they went together.
They're 2 separate projects, and so the funding motions go separate, one for Etna, one for Riverside, and there was another Riverside project.
Just like we are here, but...
And so they did approve items number 6, which is the Etna site, and number 8, which was the Riverside site.
Okay, great, thank you. Then I don't have any other questions. I'll make a motion that we adopt special number 2, seconded by Commissioner Villegas and Commissioner Caloza. That'll be the order on number 2. So you all can get to work on this. We'll send number 2 forthwith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice weekend. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then we are adjourned, everyone. Have a nice weekend. Yes, sir.